So what went into the president's decision to pick Bernanke, and why now? For some answers, Bloomberg's Peter Cook is at the White House with one of the president's top economic advisors. Peter.
Lori, thanks very much. I'm here at the White House joined by Austan, Goolsbee, a member of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, to talk more about the decision to renominate Ben Bernanke. First of all, Austan, thank you for the time. Appreciate you joining us. Let me ask you about this decision. Was it a close call for the president? Did he truly consider other candidates?
Well, look, as the president said in his announcement, Ben Bernanke faced down one of the scariest situations facing a Fed chair in decades, since the Great Depression. And the president has been impressed and has worked well with Bernanke. So I think it ended up being a pretty natural fit.
A pretty natural fit. You know the talk, Austan, that there was focus on Larry Summers perhaps taking this job over, perhaps other in-house candidates here at the White House. Larry Summers truly on board with this decision?
Look, I was unavailable to serve, Peter. So, as I say, the president the president makes the decisions on these big ones like this, and this is a situation where I think Chairman Bernanke and the president together backed us off of falling off into the abyss, and so it was a natural decision.
Any doubts about his confirmation?
I'm not an expert on the legislative affairs, but I think I would certainly hope that the Senate recognizes what a situation the country has faced, for the last year or so, and that he had to come up with a lot of original and creative ways to try to deal with the problems facing the Fed when they didn't have a whole lot of tools before he got there.
What about the timing of this decision? His term wasn't set to expire until the end of January. You do have the deficit projections coming out today, both here at the White House and the Congressional Budget Office. There are some out there suggesting, listen, this was done to try and stomp on that news.
Well, I'm not a political strategist. I think there were two things going on. One, clearly markets have been wondering what was going to happen with Bernanke. There was uncertainty over it, and the president wanted to clear that up, and so he made a personnel announcement. On the mid-session review and the deficit numbers, I mean, this is a thing that it happens every mid-session, and so it was time to release that. The CBO and OMB are both releasing their numbers at the same time.
Well, let me ask you about some of those numbers, because there were some eye-catching numbers in there. First of all, economic growth. You all see the economy contracting this year, 2.8%. Next year, growth of 2%. That's scaled back from where it was previously, your previous forecast. What do you guys do about growth next year? Is there anything more you can do? There doesn't seem to be a lot of appetite for another stimulus package. Is there anything else you can do?
Well, I'd say there are at least two or three things that have been on the president's mind for next year's growth. The first is making sure to push out as much of the recovery package money as possible. So they've been doing that in this year. There's obviously a bunch more to go. Only the first part of the recovery package is out, and we got to make sure that that continues pumping into the economy. That should make a big difference. The second is you've seen continuing efforts from Treasury, from the Fed, and from the administration to reignite the credit markets so that we could get businesses able to access credit and get banks lending again. That could make a big difference. And that
new initiatives there, or the existing initiatives?
You've seen a number of new and ongoing initiatives on the part of Treasury and getting those lending initiatives out. You've seen, third, the president's housing and foreclosure prevention program ramping up actually very rapidly ahead of what it was forecast to be, and that continues into the next year, and I think that should have a beneficial impact on both credit markets and the economy.
All right, Austan, running out of time. Unfortunately, can't press you on the deficit numbers that are out there today. Probably good for you, perhaps, but thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it very much. Lori, we'll send it back to you in New York.
Thanks for the tough questions. Peter Cook, live in Washington.